We'll see if this will hold up out here. And I'm out here on the Hillsborough River. I came out here planning on going canoeing for a couple of hours from John B. Sargent to Morris Bridge. A nice leisurely solo paddle, a little escape. And of course I should have made a reservation, but they're usually opened. I figured Friday they won't be too busy, and well, they were closed. So I decided I would take a little hike. Needless to say, the way you prepare for hiking off trail in the swamp along the river and the way you go paddling in a canoe, slightly different supplies and dress for that. So I've never let something like that slow me down. And hey y'all. And so I decided to just go for it. And I've been hiking for about an hour or so. Yeah, I'm not sure what time it is, but probably an hour and a half. And got off the trail about 30 minutes into it. So it's a little challenging out here. And needless to say, found a few plants. And the traveling's rough because it is just a tad swampy. I haven't quite been up to my knees in the mud yet. But there was one little excursion where I got a little damp. And you may or may not be able to tell, I am standing on a down tree. I'm about 10 feet off the ground. It's a huge tree, actually. And this was my little lunch stop here. So I had some dry ground and a nice little perch. And as much as I can, I travel on top of the down trees in order to avoid, obviously don't have snake boots on, which would be highly recommended here. And it's a little bit easier traveling. And I don't know whether anybody can see it. We'll see it closer here in a minute. But there is some lizard tail down there. Oh, there we go. You're back. We'll see what happens. I'm 10 feet off the ground, so I'm probably getting pretty good reception here. And pardon, I am trying to do the camera, hold my coffee, have a backpack on problem. Oh, there we go. I know. I'm a mile downstream walking through the swamp, so my connection's a little iffy. Oh, is getting to climb down this log with me. So I think we may have a problem. I have to wait till I get a little bit closer to civilization. Now, which way shall I go? This looks kind of safe-ish. Hey, Rhonda. Hey, Samaya. So, you know, if you ever wondered why you do things like yoga and Tai Chi, it's for so that you can walk on logs without falling on your ass. Oh, there you are. I know, we're cutting in and out. That's what happens when you're in the middle of nowhere. So it looked like it's a challenge. Oh, this is the most sun I've ever had. So it's always an interesting thing. We think that we're going to find the most... you're still here. Ooh, I just missed a cool bird. So the reality is, really, you didn't miss me saying anything, that most of the cool stuff literally lives on the margins. And so what we find is where the sunlight comes through, that's where we get the most stuff. So I need to be careful. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. It looks like some wild boar have been through here, I'm going to say pretty darn recently. And, you know, I can't spill my coffee and I don't want to drop my phone. So if I get a... Oh, sorry you guys can't see him. Oh, there he goes. Did he get somebody? Hey, Natalie. So if the boar come chasing after me, the downside of walking in a swamp, these cypress trees are not easy to climb. And those little boogers are faster than me out here. So I'm going to keep listening for them, and I won't be able to resist going up and playing with them, but maybe not too close. I'm not sure what this is up here. This is a unique plant I'm not used to finding out here. And that's way thicker swamp than I had counted on. So this is beautiful. I'm literally not sure what it is. Boy, I'm just disturbing the heck out of somebody out here. So one of the tricks to walking out here is, oh, there goes that hawk. One of the tricks to walking out here is you want solid ground, and the solid ground tends to be right on the river's edge. But then if I walk right on the river's edge, the brush is dense, and alligators are there sunning themselves. And those little boogers are quick and very short bursts. So I've been trying to stay at least 10 feet. Wow, they've torn this up. I try to stay at least 10 feet off of the water. And so this is a little foray, a little exploration into, whoa, sorry, I'm balancing on a log and I'm about to fall flat on my face. To see if I can find some high dry ground and see some different plants as I go along. My goal is, well, I don't know. I don't technically have a goal walking through here other than I like to play in the swamp in the woods. And right now, my plan was to try to make it to the one place where we take out and have a snack a lot of times. Oh, and there's some wild oranges. That's some shady looking water right there. I'm not sure I want to walk through that. I'm trying to find a little bridge across. I don't see one. Huh. Well, let's see if we can do it anyway. So far it's pretty solid. Just a little cold and wet. That looks like a giant octopus is attacking that beautiful plant. Alright, I don't see anybody swimming towards me, so that's good. You guys get to come on your own survival adventure here. Jeez. I don't want to lose my shoes in the mud. It's only a couple inches thick. That wasn't so bad. One of the tricks when you're walking through mud is to you want to go flat-footed so you don't sink too far and hope you hit a stick or a branch or something, but then pushing down with your toes so that you don't leave your shoes behind, and needless to say, lace up tight. You know there's somebody living in underneath there. Yeah, I'm definitely a little paranoid of the water moccasins. Although I love snakes, I don't want them nibbling on my toes. And, hey, Pete. So, I'm going to get up on this log, see if I can see if there's actually some dry ground near here. All you need is a couple of feet over the water to be able to see. Oh yeah, so there we go. That looks like pretty dry ground. Oh, look at that pretty pink flower. So I'm going to see if I can get closer. This is what's called Caesar weed. That's Caesar weed, and there's a nice one and it's called Caesar weed because of the unique leaf shape on there. Not a lot of uses for it. You can find some references to medicinal use I know the stem to be used for cordage, and it's pretty. It's in the mallow family, which means generally edible, but it's so fibrous, not a lot of flavor to it. You don't suppose that's wapati? Huh. So that cool brush I just went through, I think is wapati, now that I'm staring at it, which means there's an edible tuber on there that's very much like a potato. All right. Sorry, guys. We're going to have a little foray. Ugh. Can't spill the coffee. Let's find a nice small potch. Oh, hey, Froggy. Find a nice small one to see if we can dig it up. Hope you all can hear the squishing of the mud underfoot. So wapati tends to grow in the swamps and is a nice starchy vegetable. And, you know, zombie apocalypse and all that, we need our starches. We need carbohydrates to survive. So I came so unprepared today that I don't even have a belt on to put my knife on. But I did bring my knife. All right, let's see. All right, spiders, y'all got to get out of the way. Come on. I don't like spiders, in case of you don't know that. Look at that dirt. That's some nice soil, actually. They are down pretty deep when they're out there. Oh, what's that? Oh, no, just wood. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't see any taters down here. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's probably the start of something yummy right there. All right, we're going to put him back because I don't see it. I'll let you thrive to be hunted again another day. All right, where's my sheath for this? I'm getting my workout today. Well, there was another downside to all of this. Of course, I left my water bottles in the freezer, which is even worse. And I was like, oh, that's okay. They sell water bottles here at the canoe outpost. Since they were closed, I didn't have any. But I did bring a bunch of watermelon. And so that's been acting as my water supply while I'm out here. Yeah, this definitely reminds me of the Eckerd Foundation. For those of you who don't know, the Jack and Ruth Eckerd Youth Alternatives, I worked there for a year. And there was a period of time where they used me as a troubleshooter for camps that were down a counselor, where they all quit because the kids were out of control. So they'd send me. And one of the places they sent me was, I think it was Itumaki, which was a camp down in the Everglades where there was just little hammocks where we would build our log cabins. And then we would have, oh look, oh no, those are acorns. I thought that was poop. We would be down there, and you'd have boardwalks to get up to from different campsite to different campsite, or where the administration was. And that was challenging. Those were rough bunch of kids sometimes. That one in particular was a rough bunch of kids. Not uncommon to wake up in the morning and see a water moccasin sitting in the middle of your platform or your hammock. So way too much time sitting out in the water hoping that there wasn't a gator or a snake about to come by and visit. That was a few years ago. So now we're actually up on dry land, so I may be taking a different route back. Oops. You know, it's a funny thing. One of the mistakes people make, and whether you're out here by yourself or with a group, is being in a hurry, going too fast, and things like I could have just dropped my knife in my backpack, but taking that extra second to put it in the sheath and to fasten the Velcro holding the knife in, because if you lose one of your survival tools out here, then bad things happen. Sorry, I got to put the phone down on my shoe, because that's the other thing. Like walking through here, you never know when you got to start running. Guys, they're still there. Outstanding. You never know when you got to start running. You never want to lose your tools, any of your equipment. I usually stop about every 100 yards or so and do a little equipment check. Oh, I don't know what this cool stuff is, but so let's see what we got. This may be river oats. It's in a stage that I'm not used to. I've not used that plant. That's one of Renee's favorite. And now we're starting to get into some palms, which is nice. It's solid ground. I just got to watch out for rattlesnakes mostly up here, but usually not too big of a problem. And of course, the ever-present wild boar. That might even be a trail up there. Oh, look at that. Here's some wild boar diggings. Probably about every 5th or 6th time I'm out here, I run across some boar. Here is one of our many Florida St. John's warts. And the opinions are still out as to whether, oh, a nice patch of it. Maybe the wild boar were depressed, they were digging it up. This is still pretty fresh, not today. So this is probably from a day or two ago. It doesn't mean they're not in the area. And you can kind of tell the edges aren't sharp where they've turned up the soil. And you can see the deeper crevices are still a little dark, a little wet, but all the other edges are dried and crumbly. So this happened since our last rain, but it's only had about a day or two to dry out probably. So this was probably yesterday, the day before, that some boar were through here chowing down. Oh, here's a nice Caesar wheat. You can really get, there's the flower, and you can see that classic pinwheel shape to the flower, and the bay leaf that was used to represent Caesar and the Roman Empire, and it's kind of in that shape of the leaf. And this is, oh look, this is our, I forget its proper name, but this is a Florida orchid. I don't know whether this is native or has been brought here, but now I find this a lot of times, especially out here on the Hillsborough River. Let's see, there, it's not a great shot, but this tends to grow up on the slightly drier land. So much easier walking through here. It's funny, the densest jungle is also, or the densest woods, are always on the edges as well. So that's where the medicine is, and that's where it makes you work for it. Usually once you get into the forest, and even into the swampy areas, it's fairly open because everything is competing for sunlight. And no sunlight, nothing grows. So you tend to have taller plants, and you just have to walk around some of this underbrush like this that manages to thrive in any of the light places. What have we got? So I'm hoping that this is leading up to the area that I was hoping to stop for lunch. And that's where the wild oranges are. Oh, this is a beautiful old oak tree. You know, there's some people living there. This oak looks like it's maybe 10 feet around, 8-10 feet around. Yeah, some more rough going on the wild boar. Snout digging, looking for grubs. Some St. John's wort again. Nobody growing there yet, or no flowers to show off. You can see the old seed buds. Ah, it's a whole field of St. John's wort. One of the things when you're hiking like this, it's so important that we pick our head up periodically and look up into the trees, look around. Hey, Lily. And so this is, and you might be able to see, this is saw palmetto. We can see the saw teeth, and I don't see any of the fruit, saw palmetto berries. Where's a good shot of the, and I have to be careful, snakes love this, rattlesnakes in particular. So the saw palmetto has the blunt attachment to the leaf, and of course the saw teeth that will shred you. Oh, little air plant. I love the air plants. They get the most delicate, beautiful blooms on them. Oh, a nice open field. Oh, what is that? Is that a snake skin? Holy crap. Oh, wow. This is why you gotta always look around. This is this beautiful snake skin. It's here on this tree. And there's the head of the skin. I don't see the little buddy. I'm gonna assume that's something like a, it's so thin and narrow. I assume that's a black snake of some sort. Or, oh, look. It's a little tore up from the boar. Looks like they got the roots of that, but that's our bull thistle. Oh, I think I got a St. John's wort flower. Sorry. I hope you all are as entertained by my insanity as I am, but look at that flower. There's your St. John's wort flower. And these tend to be usually in a sunnier spot, but you never know. They tend to be in poor soil, well drained. So this is high up and probably doesn't flood up here. Of course, the trick's going to be getting back through all of this mess. Hopefully I'll make it out in one piece. So this is, yeah. So that other palm, if you remember, we saw, had the saw teeth and the blunted attachment. Here is the pointy attachment. And, oh, wait, no, I lied. That's the blunt attachment and the saw teeth. It's just not as pronounced. And those are big for a saw palmetto. Wow, okay. I'm sure that was the other one. I lied. It might be some blueberries, and I say that they're not true blueberries, but they are in the same genus and just as yummy, tiny and tart. The vacuums, they're usually up in this area, but they need full sun. And I think this is, we might find some late season pawpaw growing out here. So this is the general area where we tend to find it, except it's way easier to get here by canoe. Let's see what we got. And yes, if you're wondering, there are no trails out here. I am literally just wandering around, but I generally have a good sense of direction. Ooh. Oh my God, brain cramp. Milkweed. Some tall grass I got to be careful of here. I don't think I'm going to walk through that tall grass. That may actually be, I can't tell without digging it up and keying it out a little bit, but that may actually be Xiangfu, Cypress, which is a native grass here that is for tense condition, especially below the belly button for the Chinese herbalists for qi stagnation. Xiangfu, Xingfu. No, really, I wasn't cussing at y'all. Wow. That was really, ooh, beautiful mushroom. Look at that. It might be some kind of Ganoderma that I don't know. I've never seen one that white before. I saw a beautiful classic Ganoderma earlier. Sorry, it's too soon to put y'all on camera, but I think I got a picture of it. Oh, I lied. That is not milkweed. Oh, I forget your name. Sorry. See, and you know, it's hard to talk and think at the same time. Oh, there's some more of the lizard tail. This is a Suncus. Yerba mansa is the only other plant in the species. It tends to like shadier areas. Oh, there's a nice big one. Shady area, very fragrant leaf. Used for phlegminess, sinusitis. It can be used for pain, topically, internally. Most of your aromatics, of course, are antimicrobial as well. It was actually, the lower goes was used as an antiseptic painkiller during the Civil War. Oh, I forget the guys who were the marauders in the swamps here in Florida in particular, but all over the South. That was one of their medicines that they learned. Oh, let's go see what this oak tree has to say. Sorry, squirrel. Pretty mushroom. Somebody's been sitting there snacking, you know, the sand that's on top of it. So we're probably above the floodplain here, because the soil's not as rich, and we have things like the St. John's wort, which wouldn't do well with the wet feet. The St. John's wort's everywhere. Lots of smilax, tufuling for folks who know the crazy Chinese stuff. Just another beautiful oak. If you don't know it, those dead-looking things on the branches of the oaks are known as a resurrection fern. They're not dead, they're just resting. Insert Monty Python jokes here. But those resurrection ferns, as soon as it rains, those will within a few hours turn vibrant green and pop up. And they're lots of fun. You can, you know, don't try this at home, kids, but you could pick those. I'll be darned. Is there a mama tree here? So I'm pretty sure that this is an ilex. I just assumed this is our local species, and not often have I found this in the wild. Huh. I just assume there's a mama tree nearby, but maybe it's a... Huh. I sure don't see another one. That is your same plant genus as Wayusa, yerba mate, and oh my god, and I'm drawing a brain cramp as to our Florida native caffeinated plant. Oh well, one of y'all will put it in there. It's obviously I'm dehydrated and the heat's getting to my brains. So I've heard a couple of large animals and hundreds of different animal tracks out here, but outside of birds and a few amphibians and some gators and turtles off into the river, I haven't seen any large furries. So we're going to keep our eyes out. Hopefully we'll see a deer. Hopefully we don't see a bear, although usually they're not going to be mean. They're usually pretty friendly and run away. I am intrigued that we have the ilex growing here, and I haven't seen another one. Oh. Wow, look at all of that. That is all saw palmetto there. It's a shame there's not some fruit. I'd harvest some wild, or I was really stupid, snack on some. If you don't know it, out there, you can see this is where the fruiting stems were. If you haven't smelled or tasted fresh, oh, do we have a flower coming over here? Ah, so close. There's an air plant. It's just getting ready to bloom. You can almost see those orangey, pinky reds coming off of there. But the saw palmetto fruit, it's usually you pick it when it's just turning black. It's starting to get speckled with black. And I compare it to rotten soap. If you can imagine what that might taste like. I can't say I've had a lot of rotten soap, fermented soap, but if I were to imagine it, that's what it would be. This is so much easier than the trail hiking up here. So I stayed close to the river for much of the first mile or so, or the first hour or so. As a straight line, it was probably a mile. I probably walked 3 miles because there's a lot of picking your path through there. So this is definitely easier walking and preferable. I'm not having to be as attentive to where I put my feet. But I'm staying out of the place where I might find a little rattler. But of course, paying attention. Ooh, wonder what this weird fallen down structure is. This is how I get myself in trouble, doing this in the backwoods of Georgia or North Carolina or something. Finding old abandoned structures is a good way to stumble on a still or somebody's, I guess here in Florida it's the weeds plots out in the woods. It's a good way to get yourself shot. But, you know, that's another story. Hey, Maddie, hope you're feeling better. So, still not on a trail. I'm hoping to stumble across one here before long. Oh, this is amazing. So, y'all may not believe it. Watch where I'm stepping. That is poison ivy. This is the poison ivy vine growing up on this tree. This is crazy. And I don't know that I've ever seen seeds on poison ivy before, and I'm actually standing in a patch. Here's some very small poison ivy. Leaves of 3, leave them be. Look for the red stem, but as you can tell on the one up above, that's not a lot of red stem there. It's kind of a rusty brown. But in general, you see 3 leaves, just don't mess with that junk. So one of the things to always think about when you're wandering aimlessly in the woods off trail is to keep a general sense of direction. And that's pretty easy out here. I have a river to one side. I know I have a tributary of the river in front of me, and I can hear the highway to my left. And so as long as I'm keeping the highway to my left, I'm walking away from my truck and I'm walking downstream. And I can keep walking until I run across, oh, I'll be damned. I just ran across it. This is where I was hiking to. That's super cool. Here is that orchid. I'm so sorry I can't get in there. Hey, Kelly, it wasn't actually a tree. It was growing up a tree, but those branches were big enough. They were bigger around than my thumb. Ooh, I am pretty, yeah, that is. So this is partridge berry growing here. I don't know that I found partridge berry out here before. So it tends to be in the shadier areas. Ooh. Partridge berry tends to be in the leaf litter. That's crazy. Okay, so this is that same orchid that I just showed you. This is the craziest berry. I have never seen this berry before. This is a berry from that orchid flower. And it's almost this iridescent purple. I don't know whether it comes out on the video, but that's crazy cool. So that's the orchid flower with the berries attached. And I wish I could tell you whether I know that's edible or not, but I literally have no idea. All right, so this is our favorite spot for a bunch of fairly rare plants. And one of my favorite lunch spots, oh, no, that's trash. That's not an interesting skeleton. I'm coming at it from a weird direction, so I got to find it. But there's a ton of pawpaw out here. There's also, oh, what is this? Oh my God. So I don't know whether y'all can see that purple, but that is some pretty purple flowers. And there's my vacuum, my blueberry bushes. You don't see a lot of fruit on there. This is pawpaw, the tree, and the leaves are used for medicine, and the fruit is used to go in my belly because it tastes good. Look at this field. Just beautiful. Love me some purple flowers. A variety of pretty little yellow wildflowers, and I wish I knew what all of these were. I won't claim to. I'll have to look them up later. And of course, huge field of, there's another pawpaw. I don't see any fruit on it. It's probably a little late in the season to find any fruit on these. Although I do like to find the flowers. I think they're stunning flowers too. Let's go see if we can find some blueberries. Oh, look at that. Those pawpaw leaves. And they have a slight smell. Pawpaw is used for a variety of things, but most importantly, there's some decent research supporting the leaves for a variety of different types of tumor cancers. They are a Florida native, so I think that's always a bonus if it's a native plant like that. And I've had people, I've had them go out and find that and leave an offering and harvest their own medicine for cancer. Oh, I'm going to remember the name of you. Why can't I think of your name? So, oh, blackroot. Yeah. So this is a really interesting one. It doesn't have this very unique flower stalk on there, but that very white, almost grayish underside, and the if you look on the stem, it's a winged stem. Let's see if I can find a small one. And I'll dig one up because it has a super unique root on there. I don't want to get a biggie. Who are you? You look like a nice tiny little guy. Let's see if we can. Let's see what the root looks like on this guy. So, look at that root for this little guy. And so I don't know this as food. I only know it as medicine. Its primary use, it has a laundry list of stuff. I know this is cough medicine. And so this is a deep, severe, deep-seated cough. Think a really deep-seated bronchitis or something like that. All right, I'm going to put him back because this is a special plant. All right, get my workout for the day. Pardon the huffing and puffing. I got about a 20-pound backpack on that I thought was going to just be sitting in the canoe, and instead it's sitting on my back. Oh, this field is just loaded with it. It's constantly growing out here. This is such a unique patch that for those of you, and I know we got a bunch of students on here. Hey, Brandy. This is one of the places we'll stop on our canoe trip, and we'll show you this space. For those of you crazy enough to come back, you can find this on your own. And this time of year, there's not a ton of stuff to harvest, but we'll be coming, I think we come out here in March. We're trying to change it a little bit so we're not doing our canoe trip in the advanced class. So these are all blueberries, and I was hoping maybe there was somebody late on the bush. Nope. Oh well, so much for trailside snacks. They're all dried up. So, zombie apocalypse, I could pick even the dried ones and preserve those, save them and reconstitute them with some water. But it's not the zombie apocalypse, and I've got a couple of sandwiches in my backpack that will probably be easier to eat than a few crumbs of blueberry. So, that's a pine tree, and from the looks of it, I'm not going to go digging in there. Definitely wish I had long pants on, but c'est la vie. There's probably some good lighters pine. It looks like at the ends there we could get some lighters pine off of there. That is a naturally condensed pine resin in a downed tree that allows for... Uh-oh. Somebody got it. Well, it makes for easy fire starting. All right, I know what's down there. Let's go see if we can find some of these orange trees. I gotta go on the correct side of this little inlet. And then I'm gonna walk back along the swamp side. We'll see how long this keeps going and how long my battery holds out. I probably should save a couple of percent in case, I get attacked by a yeti or the swamp monster. Where am I? There we are. You can tell I'm walking downhill. I'm going towards the river. I have the road to my back. And it's very easy if you're actually lost in the woods. And oh, I hear critters. Oh, that sounds like boar. There they go. Oh, let's go see them. There it goes. One hog, two hogs. I only saw two. There might have been a few others. Damn shoes were falling off. Gotta tighten those bad daddies up. Felt like a bad episode of the Blair Witch Diaries there. More hogs. There they come. There he goes. There's one. Let's see if there's any more. That one was in the water. I could have tackled him. See if there's anybody else swimming. Oh, see, here's their fresh digs. See how the mud's very fresh and wet. So they literally were just digging in here. Whew. Note to self, you should never run through the woods or a swamp with dockers on and no snake boots. Chasing boars that will eat your face off. But hey, how often do you get to see a pretty wild boar? Alright, really gotta stop on the log this time. And I'm gonna go find my orange trees. Oh. You know, can't be seen without my cup of coffee. All right, how do I get around this swamp and back up to where I think the trees are? I think we got to go back. I ran a little too far. There should be a little raised area right before we fall into that little inlet. Yeah. Yeah, I got to slow down and actually pay attention and watch for snakes and such. There's the river. Well, what the heck? Let's just go this way. We can do it. It's a little swampy. Best gym workout ever. All that Tai Chi pays off when you're walking through this junk. All right. I need to be there. Now, the other important thing after foolishly walking through all this crap, hey lizard, so that's a true anole there, is to make sure you do a good tick check. Hi little anole. Whoop. Say hi. So I'm walking through this swamp. I'm trying my best to balance on this log, which is going a little iffy, and hoping that it supports my weight. Oops, I've come to the end of the road, and I need to be right over there. Yeah, Julie, I'm not always the smartest person, but I like when I get a chance to see a wild mammal out here. All right. Okay. Oh, look, I can go that way. That tree gets bigger as we go. All right, it's the Tai Chi Express. Keep your weight in your bubbling springs as you balance on this really broken log. That's gonna break. Oh, no. Wow. All right, feet in the bubbling spring works better when the log doesn't roll on you. Okay. All right, I got you. Oh, look. So there's the hog walla. Oops. And that's why we keep the weight in the bubbling springs when we walk and balance. So if it does crack, you still got your back leg for safety. Whew. Okay. All right, now we made it to the rise. So somewhere up here should be my orange trees. There's the snails and otter favorite. If I remember right, there's a lot of poison ivy. So, ooh, look. So this could be what I call fart vine. Most people call stink vine. There's a look-alike, but not a smell-alike. So this is my stink vine, fart vine, super full of sulfur. and I particularly like it for back pain and other inflammatory issues. It's really nice. So a couple of leaves, even though I'm not hurting, I'm gonna be. Ain't used these muscles in a day or two. All right. Come on, orange tree, show your face. Looks like we got a gator in here. Well, he went under. As long as he doesn't come up next to me, we're good. All right. Whew. What was that? Something either just fell off the log or just ate something off the log. Wasn't looking up for a second. Gator, turtle, or otter, one of those. Big field of the Caesar weed mallow family. I think of as mostly used for cordage. Oh, there's some fireweed. Very strong smell and taste. I actually like it, but it does cause a little bit of stomach upset for some folks. It's called fireweed because it's one of the first plants to come back up after a forest fire. But it doesn't need a forest fire, but it certainly seems to like it. All right, where's my oranges? I sure will go to a lot of work for some fresh fruit. I think it would have been easier to wait for the farmer's market tomorrow. All right, there's my orange tree. Oh, there's some oranges. Nice. All right, that may have also been what the boars were looking for. Look at this tree, full of citrus. Look at that. A huge tree. There's some 30 feet up there. I don't think I can reach those though. Let's sit down some coffee. Oh, these are ripe too. Excellent. All right, sorry, I gotta set you guys down for a second. Did I get the only ripe one? That's pretty good. Never be greedy. It's not all I can eat on my trip back. All right. Well, let me finish this. I don't have enough hands. Is that a bird? Super good. So, canoe trip, you'll find this spot. I discovered these, it's probably been over 20 years ago. And these trees have just gotten tremendously larger. Oh, and that was super refreshing. I'm ready for my hike back now. Oh. Now I have a gross sticky face. And I've got I got 2 oranges for backup. And I got some watermelon in my pack, so that's cooling and full of water because, of course, I forgot my water. I was planning on getting it from the canoe outpost. So right now, in case you don't know it, walking through a cypress swamp. Because most of the way back, if I choose to stay down here, I may sneak back up to that higher ground. But this area is closer to the river. Oh, hey lizard. And a little bit harder traveling. Oh, look at all the anhingas. Or not anhingas, brain cramp. Ibises. Let's go say hi to the ibises. They spook pretty easy, so they're probably going to bolt. Say hi, ibises. There they go. Oh. So the downside of walking through a cypress swamp is all these cypress knees, and although they're beautiful, they do present a hazard to walking, because if I were to slip and fall, those would hurt. And it's a really easy way to get injured quickly. All right, how are we getting across this swamp? So here's the dilemma. Do I walk around this creek and hope I find a path over? And it's pretty rough looking swamp there. Do I go closer to the river's edge where it looks like I might be able to jump across, but then I run the chance of wallygators? Let's go see if there's any wallygators up there. We'll give that a shot. I know I've been seeing lots of pictures online in some of the mushroom hunting groups of folks finding chicken of the woods, and I'm really hoping to find some. And I think I found some that they look too old to really harvest, so I left them be. Right in the beginning I thought I had some, so I'm going to try to take a little bit different path back in the hopes of finding some. All right, oops, what's that? That could be a gator that I just scared. I'm gonna hope this is going to support me. Let's see if I feel safe walking across this little bit of mud, because I know I'm going to sink up to my knees. I don't see a lot of tree branches there. All right, I don't think there's a wally on here. So I'm going to hope that was a turtle. We're just going to saunter quietly across this and hope it supports my weight. Woohoo! It's a little chitty. That was surprisingly easy. Oh, sorry, bird. Oh, beware the hollow logs. All right, I'm not walking there. That's snake country. So always when you go by something that looks like that, make sure there's not a little snaky sitting in there waiting to say hi. You know, I don't mind the non-poisonous little guys, but this would be prime territory for water moccasin to be hanging out. And they're fine if you leave them alone, but if we surprise them by putting our toes in front of their face, they might strike out just out of being scared. Hey, Paul. Oops. So I've managed to scare myself about 10 times out here because I'm stepping on these twigs and down trees and stuff in order to not sink into the mud, which is great, except some of these things go on like 10 feet away. And so on a number of occasions, they've moved stuff that sounded like a rattle a few feet away that I was sure was a snake about to bite me. Or I've had a few sticks roll over and poke me in the leg, which again, I've been bit by a snake. So probably the thing that a lot of people get hurt out hiking around randomly like this is it's so easy, especially when you're by yourself, to panic. And so outside of a brief little adrenaline rush, I've managed to keep my cool despite a few scary moments. They make life worth living sometimes. So I don't know whether you can tell, but I'm weaving back and forth through here. Hence the holy crap, I probably walked 3 miles to cover 1 mile. There's the Hillsborough River. So I'm walking it instead of paddling it. And this is a little bit different path than I took up here. So maybe I'll see some cool new stuff. I am getting awfully close to the water's edge where Wally might be hanging out there. Whew. I'm going to try to find a couple more plants to talk about, and I may have to shut it off. All right, how do I get through this little mess? Let's go this way. Oh, this is pepperweed, peppergrass. Not peppergrass, as smartweed. There we go. Sorry, smartweed. It's a polygonum. Tends to grow in the water's edge. I don't know what it's used for. I think David Winston taught me that one. Those might be turkey tails. David Winston taught me that one. I think it's designed mostly to screw with people who don't know what it is, because it's very spicy. And it's where a lot of things like even a cayenne pepper and some of your hot peppers, they're enjoyable despite their pain. This one just hurts. And he's like, oh, I know this one. And we were taking David around and showing him some stuff. And he was so excited he knew one of the plants down here, because this was not his stomping ground. And he couldn't wait to feed that to us and laugh at us. All right, how do I get through this mess? Oh, look, so that red stem that you see, hopefully you guys can see, is a very old poke. And that is a nightshade. I always forget which one it is, but basically don't eat the nightshades unless you really know. So this is a beautiful old poke. This is not one we would eat conceivably. Well, obviously that I don't generally recommend eating poke at all. But the medicine is generally the roots, or topically we can use the leaves. Whew. There's the air plant. And again, the blooms are so close, but not quite there. All right. So I'm thinking I'm foolishly going to take a little break up here. Let's see if I can get out there. I'll leave my coffee down here. Let's see if we can get up on here. Whoa, and there's a little snaky. Let's see if we can zoom. Oh no, what is that? Is that a frog? Look at that bullfrog. Can you guys see him just past the branch? He's huge. Oh my God, that's a beautiful big old bullfrog. Oh, you gonna stay there? That's a good little froggy. He's huge. All right. All right. like a nice quiet place to come and sit and eat a little watermelon, catch my breath and refresh. Hopefully there's no snakes out here. The hard part is then sitting down, of course, and not falling on my ass. Oh, that would be the perfect place, but I don't think I can. Well, if you hear a splash, you'll know it was me falling in the river. And I'm going to try to take another 10 steps out here. Hope that this tree over the water is steady. Switching hands. Because this looked like a nice comfortable brace for me. Oh, so I can sit down. Okay, a little muddy. It's all right. I'm going to put my phone there. Nature's tripod, a split in the branch. Woohoo! Watermelon. Hate to say it, I'm in a precarious spot, so you got to make sure you always secure your gear. So if I did fall in the water right now, I could still recover my backpack and all the good stuff that's in there. Watermelon never tasted so good. All I've been drinking all along is coffee, which of course is a diuretic. And at this point it's just room temperature. I won't say it's hot. So having this fruit that's full of water allows me to stay hydrated. And for anybody who doesn't know it, watermelon is actually considered medicinal for heat syndromes and specifically used for heat stroke. And it's so cooling, it's actually considered cold. But also nourishing and generally yummy. So I get my blood sugar back up. A little rest. Cool the body off from the inside. Hopefully I get a good seal on that. So don't spill watermelon juice all over my backpack. The flies start following me in the next week. You'll know why. Oh, feels good to sit down for a few minutes. Oh. All right, now the trick's gonna be, how do I stand up from here? Oh. All right, I'm gonna check my phone, make sure that that's secure, because I'm using this branch. All right. Keep the weight in the bubbling springs. Hey, Denny, what's up? Okay, let's see if we can make it back across. Get my whips about me. Backpack is secure. Steps. And it's funny, it's very rare that I slip and fall off of these things, but you know when it always happens in the last 2 or 3 steps, because just for a brief second your attention wavers because you think you're there. So you're never there till you're there. I think the ibis I don't know. I think they're sitting back there waiting for me to laugh. They're taking bets on whether I fall on my ass or not. All right. Oh, I survived. And the raccoons did not run off with my coffee. Hallelujah. It's funny. A little ways up here is a larger creek. And since I crossed that creek, I haven't seen another human footprint. And so I know I'm not in Kansas anymore when you don't see another single biped out here. Oops. I gotta find at least one more little plant to talk about. One of the other things I just tell people when you're walking through the woods is our tendency is to always, if you're right-handed, you tend to always go around trees, keeping them to your right, and it's how people end up walking in circles through the woods when they're lost. And that information was used in World War II, oddly enough, that when they were trying to get the German U-boats, and they would just randomly guess at where the submarine went, they would just start throwing depth charges. And when they figured out that everybody tends to turn the same direction when faced in danger, depending on whether left or right-handed, when they started to take that into account when they got the depth charges, their success rate went up exponentially. And so if you're walking through the woods and you're really freaking lost, you don't have a river like I do, help guide us, it's a good habit to get into, to try to make sure that you're going an equal number of steps in each direction so that you end up roughly in a straight line. You just end up covering a lot of mileage. Oh, beautiful palms. I'm not sure what kind of palm this is, but they are stunning. And look at the size of the thorns on that sucker. Now, next time we're looking for some thorns to do some magic with, we've got a hike in front of us. Those are some of the longest thorns I've seen. And that is a tree full of them. That is a well-protected little booger. Well, it's not quite perfect, but you know, whenever I go camping, I look for down trees or ones like this that make the most wonderful saddles, i.e. toilet seats, that you can stick your ass in there and not poop on your shoes. Wow, this is crazy looking. I don't even know what this is. Coolest tree root system ever. And those little streaks of tannish color are actually termites. And usually in a root complex like this, there's likely to be a couple of snakes or banded water snakes or something along those lines. This looks like the tree overlord or something. So, and if, no reason why anybody would have noticed this, but oops, this is dollarweed, which is edible. It's in the same plant family, oddly enough, as ginseng, and is a mild, it's cooling energetically, creating some dampness. It's known for everything from gallstones. Ouch. Oh, that was weird. That was one of those sticks scaring me, making me think I just got bit by a snake. Hit right on a nerve. The dollarweed, pennywort, whatever you want to call it. Hydrocolum. Whoa! Sorry you guys didn't just see that. But that's scary as shit. In this hole that you can barely see, a wasp just climbed in there. And if I had stepped on that, I have a feeling he would leave a mark. So it's a vasodilator, so it can mildly lower blood pressure. Most things in that plantain family are considered some version of adaptogen. And I won't say it tastes good or bad. The biggest thing is I always say you got to cook it because it does grow in marshy areas. If you have those in your yard, that means you're overwatering or you have a low spot. And so you can plant appropriately for that. And if you didn't know it, although the weather has definitely cooled off and the humidity is better in the middle of summer, it is getting warm out here. I'm not really sure what time it is, but it is probably close to noon. I started walking about 10 o'clock. Probably, yeah, it's 10 o'clock. I walked out on a little pathy thing. And I got a fair distance back. What is that bird? That is either, I think that's a tricolored heron. And an ibis. All right, I'm not going to try to get out there. That looks like a hazard. And all of this here, this is a suncus, the lizard's tail. And it's funny, as I walked out, let's find a good one. As I walked out, these were the tallest ones I've ever seen. And they actually have a woody stem, which I've not seen. All the ones I've seen never get over like knee high. And these are at least waist high out here, which is fascinating. And so the leaves are a little smaller than I'm used to seeing. There's the suncus lizard's tail. And there's only two plant species. There's only two plant species in this genus. This, and I believe it's Yerba Mansa. I always forget Yerba Mansa versus Yerba Santa. I think it's Mansa is also grows in this kind of an area and is used for very, very similar things. All right, do I follow that log? Oh, somebody's moving over there. I think it was a froggy. Or do I go around this way? Let's try this way. I need to tie my shoes anywho. Like, look at the size of this. And it's funny, there's been almost no mosquitoes up to this point, but they're just now starting to come out. Right, sorry, you guys are getting set down for a moment. And boy, are they coming out. Oh, going right for the eyes. All right. As a general rule, when you're walking through the woods, oh, there's more of the smartweed. Does not make, well, I guess it makes you smarter. It makes you smart enough not to eat it. You generally, although you have to be careful even stepping on a log, you generally don't want to step over logs unless you can see under it to make sure there's not a little snaky poo sitting underneath it. Oh, this is nice. There's a nice little path here. So I avoided this on the way up because I was concerned because it was still cool out, that the gators might be sitting on the banks more, sunning themselves. And I would run the risk of finding one closer to where I was walking. But now that it's hotter out, the chances are better that they're in the water cooling off. Since they are cold-blooded little critters, they need to use the environment to regulate their temperature. Whew. I might make better time going back. Let's just say I wasn't walking this fast on my way up. It's funny, I was hoping to spot a snake out here at some point today. And actually shocked that I haven't. So I've been stopping and looking at all the tree roots, hoping to see somebody wrapped up inside there. Oh, I just heard somebody. If you haven't been on the Hillsborough River, this is still one of my favorite rivers in all of Florida. Although I don't recommend walking along it quite like this unless you're cool little cypress knees the way they're all together, like little cities. I think this is fun. That this is definitely not everybody's cup of tea, and but the river itself, the John B. Sargent Park, where the canoe rental place is, to Morris Bridge, really just a 4-mile run, is still my favorite. Snake check. And they say it's an hour and a half to 2 hours when I paddle it, because I like to get out and explore and go up the little tributaries. Minimum for me is 4 hours, but I prefer doing it in 6. So I can stop and play a little bit. And I always find it funny. I've been paddling this river for probably 30 years. When I was on the Amazon back in the day, I remember being so surprised at how similar it was to the Amazon. Oh, look, how convenient this bridge. That although the Amazon certainly had a few different critters. Oh, snake! Where did he go? He's under the log. I don't know whether you guys saw him on the camera, but I saw him jump off this log and start swimming. Make sure there's nobody else underneath here. Couldn't tell what kind of snake he was. Where did the little booger go? Well, let's hope the center of this supports my weight, because it's a little iffy. Well, that was exciting. Whew. And a little muddy. Yeah. Well, at least I didn't land on the snake. But I did spill a little coffee, so, blasphemy. I just think that's cool. I don't know if you can see that. The sun's kind of in the way, but looks like lungs. The lungs of the tree. So, after you see a snake like that and he startles you, then everything looks like a snake. Uh-oh, I think I lost y'all.